Shanti Shanti. Yogena chittasya padena vacha malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopaakarotam pravaram munina patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणम् सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम् श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः. Please sit with your eyes closed for a minute and just breathe. Please be aware of how the breath enters you and how you feel when you exhale. When you are ready, please open your eyes. Last week, we began by looking at what brings us together here, this journey, and what distracts us or takes us away from it. Each of us spends our life interacting constantly. And most of those interactions are based on how we perceive people and situations. Our practice tends to quieten us. It helps us to quieten, really. And in that space of quiet, from that space of quiet, we are able to perceive and experience ourselves and the world from a very different place, with a greater clarity. And that greater clarity makes us better people. And we are able to respond with better perception. So the entire journey is really to cleanse. And that cleansing leads to an increased clarity. This can happen in many ways, by listening quietly, by being mindful. All of this is also yoga, not just asana and pranayama. To discover how to be in yoga through life, that in itself is the journey. And then to be able to share it by living it. When we do it often enough, it becomes a new method of doing something, like asana. Asana is a new way of how you engage, how you connect with the body. It is a new samskara. We can also use our mind to reconnect with our body, to listen to it with compassion, with attention, to offer it what it really needs. The right food, practice, rest, sleep, to balance its needs so that it can be at its best. That is reconditioning the body. Really, it is actually about reconditioning the mind to be able to take care of the body. Practicing yoga doesn't make your body free of all issues, but it helps in reducing the impact, in maybe retarding advancement of an issue, so that you remain able to function, to stay as well as possible. We can work with ourselves through pranayama, with our sense organs and our mind through thought processes, our habitual thinking, acting, response patterns. At a deeper level, when we keep working at cleansing our body, our prana, our mind level, reconditioning work causes something else to happen. A purification happens at a subtle level, where our intentions and our actions are also cleansed. When that awareness of our thought, which is inappropriate, arises, we may continue to act out of compulsion. But we can, in retrospect, realize that there is or there was a different way of responding. So then we understand that we need to cleanse further in order to bring balance and harmony. So what is Vairagya? We discussed this last time. Vairagya is to see the unwholesomeness in an object that one is compulsively attracted to, from food to thought to action to intention, and to turn to that which is whole, which is wholesome, which is pure, complete, permanent, eternal, step by step by step. This journey requires a lot. This samskara of cleaning ourselves on so many levels is not easy, but it also helps to clean our will, our determination. Today's topic is Shraddha. So how is this conversation relevant in the context of Shraddha? What is Shraddha? So difficult to define, to explain, to capture in words. It is what drives one. That little hook within us, which is sort of catches us and it draws us and it makes us walk and keep walking. That doesn't allow you to call it a day on something. That almost literally eggs you on step by step, from step to the next step. And when we do what that voice, that impetus within us directs us to do, we can feel ourselves moving in the right direction of clarity, of quietude. And we do this because there is a trust in that impulse. That trust, that faith, that conviction is Shraddha. And it comes from an extremely deep, quiet space within us. As we practice and we listen to it more, we are able to get in touch with it more and more quickly. This is a name, it's an attempt to define something that is intangible, a power, an energy, an impulse, a drive. We can call it many things depending on where we are, but it's very difficult to define. It is really our true nature that is speaking to us. The previous week, we had spoken about abhyasa, that which keeps us with our practice, and vairagya, which helps us recognize what is keeping us from our practice and to bring it back. And what is practice? Practice is not just asana and pranayama, but every single thing that we do that takes us deeper and closer to our true self, so that we begin to have greater clarity and stability, and our perception improves. Our actions are more responsive than reactive, so that we experience less and less dukkham. Abhyasa is tough, true. But vairagya is even more difficult. To walk away from that we enjoy, that we love, and to give up pleasure is very difficult. So we begin with abhyasa, and hopefully a strong abhyasa will strengthen the vairagya. So we are able to walk away from that which is not helpful or useful. Every one of us struggles with our practice because our Shraddha is weak. It is hidden, and often it doesn't even seem to exist. Many times, we are inspired by a teacher, and that teacher's knowledge and their faith in me is adequate. It's enough. I may not know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have any Shraddha, but my teacher is enough to get me going, to start me walking on the path. Our trust in their belief is enough. And as we walk, our Shraddha gets strengthened. As we practice, we read, we reflect, it will grow. And then it becomes our strength, our anchor, our axis, as it were. The Bhagavad Gita says, Shraddha is our nature. If our mind is rajasic, our Shraddha takes on that hue, and then we become more acquisitive, we're thirsty for power, we're desirous of achievement. If our mind is dominated by tamas, our Shraddha becomes tamasic, and we are almost blinded by it. We can be molded and manipulated very easily. It can be dangerous. It can be exploitative. But when sattva dominates, we move in the right direction towards chitta vritti nirodha. And then the abhyasa and the vairagya that we require towards discovering the true nature of our mind, that fills us. We ended last week by chanting the Shraddha Suktam, praying to strengthen our Shraddha from moment to moment, from each step moving towards the next step, to discover and to listen to our true selves more and more. Today, Saras will speak to us about how we can use this to build trust in our relationships and to help us to lead a more harmonious life. Over to you, Saras.
Thank you, Gauri. A very beautiful summary. I could just close my eyes and listen to you.
Thank you.
Bring everything together. Yeah, so today we are entering relationships. It's like opening a Pandora's box. Even before we actually get into the topic, I'm sure a lot of questions and a lot of thoughts are coming up in your mind in relation to this topic, because it's a very hot topic, right? It's an area where we struggle a lot. And sometimes we are gifted, we are blessed with relationships, people, and family situations where there's a lot of peace and harmony, love and trust. And sometimes it is not so. And then it also keeps changing through our life, right? So when Gauri was sharing about how do you build trust in relationship, because all of what we experience is based on our perception of reality. And our perception of reality is colored by our conditioning. And how we get conditioned very, very early in childhood determines how we look at a situation, how we look at people, how we understand, and then how we respond to it. And that further keeps us in this cycle of similar ways of behavior, compulsive ways of responding, reacting, and we get caught in the cycle. So if somebody has difficulty, for example, in trusting, what kind of childhood experience we have had in relationships, whether that has given us comfort or whether that's caused a lot of pain, whether that has really broken our trust. And these things actually determine how we perceive, how we respond or react to people, to situations. So it's a very, very, very complex thing. And then it's not just us, right? It is the other person, it is the context, it is the combination of people. It is how energies come together and create a certain dance together, right? So we would be able to appreciate how, for example, just look at families. And when a few people come together, there's a certain dynamics that works. And then the way we enter into that space, how we hold ourselves, how we perceive ourselves and the others, and how we interact, everything is determined by a certain energy dynamics, like the prana flow between the people. And this is very complex, right? The same people, independent of this space, this context, you will relate to them very differently. They will relate to you very differently. And this is true of workplace, this is true of a group of friends, it's true particularly of family, because this is where we have grown up, this is where we hold a lot of deep experiences, memories, pain, joy, whatever that may be. And a combination of all this creates this kind of a complex dynamics. And we are often struggling. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to handle. But deep within, we know that we want harmony. Yeah, we want peace. We want a certain flow of the prana. We are thirsting for it. We are yearning for it. in relationships. Yeah, from very, very, very early in childhood. So, and we grow up with this. We grow up with this need and very deep yearning for belonging. Belonging to people, belonging to communities, belonging to God, whatever you might say. That sense of belonging, that I can relax here, I can breathe deeply here, I can experience peace and calm. I can just be who I am. I don't have to put up a front. I don't have to have a facade, right? I don't need to carry a mask. Because in most spaces that we are in, we are walking around with our masks, right? And it is only one mask reacting or responding to another mask. It is not even the real person behind it. And how often, in how many relationships, in how many contexts in life, are we able to take off our mask and just be who we are? It's very difficult. And there's nothing wrong in holding a mask and wearing it and walking around and all that. That's what is happening in our life. That is our reality. It's absolutely fine. But to be aware of it is important. Just to be aware of it is very, very. So last week we looked at Shraddha, and I was mentioning about one word that our teacher used for Shraddha, which is Vishwas, special breath. Yeah, in the presence of somebody, when you're able to breathe in a very special way, like very deeply, very quiet, very harmonious breath, which indicates that the prana is actually flowing without any impediment between you and the other person and within you. If the prana is able to flow in a very harmonious way, you know that in that presence of that person, that relationship, there's something very special. Yeah, there is trust, there is joy, there is love, there is beauty. And there is a sense of restfulness and relaxation, where one can just be who we are, right? One can even let go of this idea of the self. I don't even need to exist in this form and hold on to it and try to protect it. So we also looked at the kleshas, right? Avidya, smita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, particularly abhinivesha. That abhinivesha is in the seed form, prasupta. It need not sprout. It can happily sleep. Yeah, like you're in Shavasana, it can happily sleep. It doesn't have to sprout. So you are not vigilant. Oh, will I get hurt? Or will this person say something or do something that will offend me, that will hurt me? Do I have to, walk around with my shield and sword? Or can I just drop everything and completely relax? Yeah, it does not mean that we don't get hurt, but we can accept that as part of what is happening to us, as part of our learning, as part of our growth, right? That relationship is Vishwas. Now imagine if at least a few relationships in our life, a few key relationships in our life, we could have that quality of Vishwas. We could experience true Shraddha, and therefore deep, abiding peace and harmony. This is a condition for going deeper into ourselves. Because if these conditions are not met, we are constantly fighting with the world. We are constantly preoccupied with arguments with people and say, okay, they said this, maybe they said it 10 years ago, but I'm still holding on to that memory and I'm fighting with them in my head. I'm not able to forgive, I'm not able to let go, right? And then I bring that experience into everything else. Like recently, I was talking to a friend who is really struggling in a difficult marriage and a lot of struggle with her parents-in-law. And she said, I don't want this to come between my children and them, because for my children, they are grandparents and I would like them to have a beautiful relationship with their grandparents. So I don't discuss any of my issues with my parents-in-law, with my children. And I let them have a beautiful relationship. That requires a lot of maturity, right? Clarity that this is my life and their life is different. I don't need to pollute their life and their thinking with my own experience, because we all experience individuals differently. We don't have the same experience of the same person. Some people see very beautiful parts of something. Some people see only the ugly parts of it. So if you have, in many situations, of course, you've heard people praising someone. And in your mind, you'll think, no, that person is not so praiseworthy. I know the other side of that person, right? Have you not thought about that, right? Or if somebody is complaining about someone, you'll say, no, I don't think. I had such a beautiful experience of that person. What are you talking about? Yeah. We may not vocalize it, but we do see that each one of us perceive the other through our own lens. In the 4th chapter of Yoga Sutra, Patanjali says, Vastu Samye Chitta Bheda Tayor Vibhakta Pantaha. Vastu Samye, the same object. Chitta Bheda, the mind is different. And so the mind differentiates and perceives the same object very differently. Something we all have to remember. My experience of a reality, of a person, of a situation is very different from how anybody else will experience. Right? And where do we belong? We belong if people, even in some level, at some level, even at a very peripheral level, say, I have the same experience. Then we say, oh, yeah, then we are friends. Okay, and that person becomes the enemy. Right? We all play this game in childhood, right? So as we grow up, our differentiation, our prejudices only become more and more sophisticated. Yeah, they become more and more subtle that we are not even able to recognize them. It becomes so deeply part of us. But if we don't have this inherent ability to find peace and harmony in relationships and to work towards it, it is difficult to progress with yoga. We will be pulled outward. We will have to constantly be fighting with many realities around us, particularly in relationships. My teacher, Desikachar, defined yoga as a relationship. He said yoga is a relationship, period. Okay, and for a long time, we think about this idea of a relationship in many, many ways. So the beginning, when you get into an asana practice, it is a relationship between your body, your mind, and your breath. Okay? How you bring together your body, mind, and breath in a harmonious way. That you're not pushing and pulling and controlling your body. The mind and the body have to come together in a very peaceful, harmonious manner, moment to moment to moment. And the breath has to flow in such a way that this harmony is maintained and intensified and deepened continuously. So you touch and experience what is yoga. Okay, you're not able to hear me? Am I audible? Better?
Yeah, it's fine. Sarla, maybe you want to turn the volume up on your computer also.
Okay. So from asana, you learn how to harmonize this relationship between the body, breath, and mind. As long as we hold strong judgments about our body, we can't enjoy our practice. We're constantly judging and we're constantly berating the body, right? And that doesn't help, right? The body has a consciousness, it has an intelligence that far beyond what we can imagine, what the mind can comprehend. So work in asana in a way that you establish that harmony and peace through the way you work with the breath. Then when you come to pranayama, it is about harmonizing your relationship with your breath, and through that to be able to touch the deeper energy, which is the prana, and harmonize the prana. So we did briefly look at the 5 pranas and how to harmonize all these different functions. We'll Of course, as you continue to study yoga and deepen your practice, you will understand how this is done. And the prana is constantly changing and moving. So it is a kind of work that one learns to do at a deeper and deeper level. In meditation, it is our relationship with a certain object that we are focusing on. It is our relationship with our own mind, with our own self, and the ability to look within, to look at oneself from a very deep, quiet space where you're not looking at yourself through the eyes of judgment, right? You are not feeling like a victim. You're not feeling like, okay, I should not be like this, all that. You're able to look at yourself and accept and see where you are and also understand where you want to move. The yama niyamas. The yamas are how do you establish this harmony in your relationships? What is the boundary that you create between you and the other? Sometimes when we get into relationships, we struggle with these boundaries. Like, what is my space and what is the space of the other? If, for example, if, in India, I have this experience in very early. At a certain point in my life, I had to travel in a public transport. And I'm saying I've always traveled by bus, but I lived in a campus where, there was so much more freedom and these buses were empty and you are very comfortable. Then you go into another place, you have to go to college, and then they're very cramped, very crowded. And you are aware of your boundary, you're aware of your pranic boundary. And when somebody, even when the bus is empty, they come very close to you, you cringe, right? You contract because they have entered your energy boundary and you want to push them away or you want to move away, right? And this is true. Sometimes when you have a lot of love and trust, you want to embrace the other person. You want them to actually break down this boundary and become one. Okay? It can be the expression of love. It can be the expression of raga. Okay, deep attachment. And then dvesha. Dva means two. I am separate, you are separate. So please let us have our distance. I want to draw my boundary clearly. I don't want you to enter into that. I want to enter into your boundary. And we play all these games. Yeah. The sense of how do you draw this boundary, which is constantly changing in different relationships at different times. How do you have a sense of it? What to say, what not to say, how to say it, how to treat somebody, and how to respond to how you are treated by somebody. Okay. All of this comes into the yamas, our relationship with the world, and how to build harmony and trust in those relationships so that we can have peace at that level and we can move inward. Otherwise, we are constantly fighting with the world. Okay. The niyamas are recognizing that there is impurity within me. There's a lot that I have gathered in the form of experiences, memories, pain, anger, hurt. Yeah. Unless I cleanse all of that, I will not be able to practice my yamas. So niyamas is deeply, deeply connecting with oneself and cleansing oneself, finding that space of contentment within, right? Learning to purify, studying self-reflection, and making a connection with a higher force, Ishvara Pranidhana. So the niyama is really about taking care of oneself. Yama is about taking care of relationships. It's easily said than done because we all talk about ahimsa, we all talk about satyam and many, many levels of yamas. But is it really easy to practice all this all the time? This is where our struggle is, right? When I get hurt by somebody, I want to give it back. I want them to know how hurt I am and I want them to feel that hurt. It is hard for me to be kind and be generous, be compassionate when I don't experience that from somebody, right? And then when I have experienced a lot of hurt, I bring that hurt into every other relationship. I project those ideas onto other people, I have difficulty trusting. Yeah. So my perception of the world itself changes because of the way I am holding pain and hurt within me without cleansing it. So the niyamas help you to look at all of them deeply and slowly learn to cleanse them out with practice, with asana, with pranayama, with meditation and all that. And the yamas help you to meet the world freshly, okay? And learning a new way to be with people where you can build harmony, you can build trust, so that one can journey inward to truly experience what is yoga. So I don't want to go deeply into the subject because it's a huge subject. It's a lifelong and maybe a journey of many lifetimes. Yeah. But I want to just take up one sutra from the first chapter that could be something that we could use as a practice in our daily life when we deal with problems in relationships. And I'm not telling you that this is going to be easy because it is in the first chapter. And first chapter is for a samahita chitta, a mind that is already equanimous, a mind that is very close to a state of yoga. And for such a mind, just the recollection of these concepts, the memory of these concepts can help to put somebody back into the track of finding peace and harmony rather than fighting with an external reality. Whereas for us who are the vyuthita chitta, the jumping, disturbed mind, it is not easy. But these are concepts, these are ideas that can be useful for us to reflect upon and learn to use them as guiding poles for refining our mind, right? To be even able to see where we are in relationship with people. So this sutra, I'm going to chant the sutra. Okay, this is number 33 in the first chapter. Maitri karuna mudito pekshanam sukha dukkha punya punya vishayana bhavanatah chitta prasadanam. So this sutra is actually presented in the context of a disturbed mind. When the mind gets disturbed, you practice these 4 attitudes. Okay, Maitri. Maitri is loving friendliness. Karuna is compassion. Mudita is the ability to appreciate and joyfully appreciate and celebrate the good actions of another person. And upeksha, which is of course the most difficult thing, is equanimity. Okay. And each of these attitudes are presented as practices that one can do in specific contexts. Maitri, when you experience sukham of another person, not your own sukham. When you see somebody happy, okay, and joyful, let us think about how do we normally react when we see somebody happy, particularly if they are happier than us. If I am as happy as them or happier than them, it doesn't matter, right? But if they are very happy and I am not so happy, then we are not definitely happy with their happiness. But here, Patanjali says, when you encounter sukham in another person, when you perceive another person to be happy, you generate maitri, the quality of maitri within you. Now today with Instagram and Facebook and all that, it's a big problem. So we see people putting out photographs and posts where, everything seems hunky-dory. Then you say, oh my God, this family is so happy, or this person is so beautiful, and this person has such a beautiful body, and this person is able to do and speak. And we always see the other person through the lens of ourselves. We can never separate that. We can never put away our own lens of ourselves. It's always comparison, always, right? So we are always comparing ourselves with other people. When they're not as happy as us, that is different. But when they're happier, better, then Maitri becomes difficult. Therefore, Patanjali says, cultivate this quality of Maitri. Okay, how to do that? We'll come to it. Karuna. This is another difficult area. When we see somebody suffering, the attitude to generate and cultivate within us is karuna, compassion. To open our heart to receive their pain and to respond to their pain with appropriate action, to elevate their pain. That is karuna. It's not simply saying, oh, I feel sorry for you and walking away, or closing our eyes and actually suffering a lot because of their suffering, but not able to do anything. Yeah, that is not karuna. Karuna is opening our heart, receiving their pain, responding to it, action to elevate the pain of the other in whatever way we can. Okay. The third is mudita. So when you see somebody doing a punya action, a positive action, a dharmic action, right? To be able to appreciate, to be very happy and enthusiastic about their action, appreciate them, encourage them. That is mudita. Okay. This may be possible if you like the person. It may not be possible if you don't like the person. And why we like or don't like has a history. Yeah. Upeksha. Upeksha is at two levels. One is upa means near, iksha means to see. To be able to hold yourself and watch something, to be able to hold yourself and watch yourself, what is happening. Yeah, when you see somebody doing an apunya karya, which is an action that is inappropriate. Yeah, somebody is lying, cheating, exploiting, causing violence, pain. Don't even have to take it to extremes, because our tendency is to go to extremes. Looking at a murderer or a rapist or all that. Stay with this idea of how we encounter actions of people and say that's not okay, right? Like if you're driving the city and then people are honking or they're cutting through, the road rage that we experience. Yeah. And it is really disturbing us. It creates a lot of violence within us. Their violence instills violence and generates violence within us. In that situation, Patanjali says, practice upeksha, practice equanimity. Draw a boundary, learn to look at this from a deep, quiet space where you're not disturbed. Only then you will have clarity to act appropriately. Now, this is a very deep topic. Just 4 attitudes, 4 bhavanas to cultivate in 4 different contexts, and all that you see about the world and other people can fit into these 4 categories very easily. Every situation, leave alone neutral situations where you may not have an opinion or idea or judgment about something. Okay, or you may have just numbed yourself to that you are not even able to feel anything in that situation. So one of my friends is a counselor, and she was actually talking about how we get so brutalized by problems in the society that we learn to completely numb ourselves. We have normalized it and it doesn't mean anything to us. If a violent action happens, if somebody is in pain, if somebody is treated very badly, nothing seems to matter. I'm not talking about that. A person who really is in this path becomes more and more sensitive. Yeah, it is like you have a speck of dirt on your skin. You're not even aware of it. This same speck of dirt enters your eyeball. You suffer so much. The person who is practicing, actually every bit of dukkham is like a grit in the eyeball. You can't just say, okay, I'm in a class now, let it be. After the class, I'll go and wash my eye. No, I want to stop now and go wash my eye to get it out, right? That is a sensitivity that we develop through the practice of yoga. So we become more and more sensitive. So we need to know how to respond to different situations so that we're not carried away and consumed by those situations and lose our balance and harmony. So the first step is to know where we are. Okay, what is truly happening to us, that I'm not able to be friendly or happy or compassionate. Absolutely fine. And then see what is behind that. What is that I'm holding? What is coming in the way of me experiencing Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upeksha, and continuously learn to cleanse myself so that one can journey towards cultivating these qualities and find more peace and harmony within oneself. So it is a journey of a lifetime, and it is a very exciting journey. Okay. The first thing is to remember that if I want to change something about my relationships, the only thing I can do is to work with myself. I cannot change the other person. There is a lot of adi bhautika dukkham, the dukkham that we experience because of actions of other people, their conditioning, their samskaras, okay, their life and what they carry and what they dump on us. But truly, we cannot change them. We can only work with ourselves. So when Patanjali in the first sutra, in the first chapter says, Atha Yoga Anushasana, he's asking, Atha, here now, are you ready? Are you ready to practice, follow the teachings, cleanse yourself? Because that is the only thing that you can do. And this is yoga. Okay, we can't change the world. When we change ourselves, when our location shifts, when we become happier people, yeah, when we become more compassionate, when we are joyful and appreciative of all that is beautiful and nice in this world, when we experience more and more equanimity within, we can change many things around us. Life will change, but we can only start with ourselves. We can only work with ourselves. And that's something we all have to remember all the time, because we will forget. We will learn all this. The next moment somebody says something or does something, immediately we pick up our sword and shield. Patanjali says, yeah, you may need sword and shield to protect yourself. Use it. But use it in a way that you don't harm the other person, that you stay with the truth, in your truth. Yeah. And cultivate, cleanse yourself more and more of this pain and hurt, so that you can truly move towards Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upeksha, towards yoga. So I want you to just take a little while to sit quietly with your back straight. Let all this sink into you. Observe what it brings up. Gently breathe in and breathe out. Observe the quality of your breath and how you feel in your body right now. So this discussion could have triggered a lot of things within us. Just observe how it impacts your mind, your body, and your breath. And it's okay to feel how you're feeling. Does not mean that because we are talking about yoga or discussing yoga, you always have to feel calm and peace and joy. Okay, that's a myth. We are feeling what we are feeling, and that is the truth of our moment. Can you meet it with complete honesty? And know that this too can change. It just requires reconditioning of the body, of the breath, of the mind, with consistent abhyasa and vairagya. And we learn to strengthen our shraddha that can further strengthen our abhyasa and vairagya. So maybe you can take a couple of minutes to prepare for your practice. We're going to have a practice now and then come back for the Q&A. Just give 2 minutes, Gauri. Maybe people can set up their mats and start.
Whenever you feel ready, please get your mat if you are going to be doing the practice on your mat, or please be seated comfortably. Today, Bindya will be doing the demo for us. She will be demonstrating the asana practice that we will be doing. Please sit on your mat or your chair comfortably, close your eyes, and please take 6 breaths consciously, slowly, letting your mind flow with your breath as you inhale and exhale. When you have finished taking 6 breaths, please lay down on your mat. Please lay down comfortably with your arms by your sides. As you inhale, lift your arms from the front and take them to rest on the floor behind you, pointing your toes at the same time. Pause, and as you exhale, please bring your arms back to the side, flexing your toes. Please repeat this 3 more times. When you have finished, please take 2 breaths and then bring your heels closer to your body, to your bottom. Arms still by your sides. As you inhale, lift your hips off the floor. As you exhale, gently lower your body. Lower your hips to the floor again. Please repeat this 3 more times. When you have finished, please take a couple of breaths. For this next asana, as you inhale, gently lift your heels off the ground, and you may place your hands either on your knees or supporting your thighs from under your knees. As you exhale, draw your knees closer to your chest, allowing your stomach to initiate that. Repeat this 3 more times. Inhale and let your legs move slightly away from your body again. Exhale and bring your knees closer to your body. Repeat this 2 more times, please. When you have finished doing this 4 times, as you inhale, bring your feet down to the ground again. And slowly turn onto your side and sit up. Please sit with your legs extended in front of you. We will be practicing Dandasana. Please sit up. If you wish, and it would be better if you could lean against a wall. As you inhale, lift your hands from the front and reach them up and touch the floor behind you. As you exhale, please bring your arms back down by your side. Please repeat this 1 more time. For the next 2 times, please spread your legs a little bit And repeat the same practice. Inhale and lift your arms, touching the floor behind you. As you exhale, bring your arms down by your sides. Please repeat this one more time. Now, spread your legs a little bit further apart and repeat twice in this position. When you are finished, please sit comfortably and take a few breaths. We will next be doing a Chakravakasana to a Vajrasana forward bend. So please sit on your heels or stand on your knees, whatever is comfortable. As you inhale, lifting your arms from the front, please stand on your knees. As you exhale, bend forward, placing your hands and your forehead on the floor, resting your bottom on the heels. As you inhale, straighten and come up on all fours. As you exhale, retreat, go back and sit down on your heels again with your forehead on the floor. Please repeat this 3 more times. When you have finished, please sit down in a comfortable position and take a few breaths. Please take 6 conscious breaths, focusing on the base of your throat. Saras will now guide us through a meditative practice. Saras, you will take us through the practice now.
So please sit with your back erect. Bring your awareness to your breath. It's the practice of Maitri, loving friendliness. And we begin to connect with our body to understand what it is to have this loving, friendly relationship with our body. So as you inhale, take your awareness deep into your heart space and draw from there, from the space of the prana, the shraddha, this beautiful quality of Maitri. Fill yourself with it as you complete your inhalation. Pause. And as you exhale, allow all that is blocking your experience of this beautiful relationship with your body. Let it all go away, drop away. Use the exhalation to cleanse your body. Empty yourself. And as you inhale, fill yourself with this quality of Maitri. Take this energy of Maitri into every part, every cell, every organ. Infuse it with love and light. Recognize what needs to be dropped away, cleansed out of your system, and let your exhalation do that. Take it to those parts of the body that require healing, that require your loving attention. And once we have fully filled ourselves with this quality of Maitri, it is time to take it to the world. As you breathe in, generate this quality, this attitude, the feeling of Maitri, of loving friendliness, of joy, of happiness. And as you exhale, let it flow out of you into the space around you, to touch all the people around you, in your family, In your mind, see them receive your energy of loving friendliness with joy and gratitude. See them smile and receive it. Let it flow out of you in all directions. Now, beyond your immediate family, to touch all the people in your extended family, your friends, your teachers, your students, the people around you, your neighbors. Let it break down the barriers of selection and exclusion. Let it simply flow out of your heart in all directions. And see all of them receiving it, the smile on their face, the joy and gratitude. And now take it even beyond the circle of people you love and care for, to touch all the neutral people in our life. People are in some way connected to us, serving us in visible and invisible ways. Get deeply in touch with this reservoir of love from your heart, draw it, and take it to them with your exhalation. And now maybe we can reach it out to those people towards whom we may not be so favorably disposed. Can you generate Maitri for them and offer it to them? You don't have to think about all this. Simply let your mind throw up images, memories. Deeply draw from Maitri and offer it. With each offering, you're cleansing yourself of pain and hurt and difficult memories, so that you're able to really generate more and more Maitri. And now we expand in all directions towards the whole world, the entire universe, to touch all living beings, far and near, the big and the minute. Human beings and all living beings, the plants, the trees, the animals, the worms, insects, all living beings. Beyond all boundaries. Let all beings be happy. Let all beings be healthy. And let all beings experience true peace and joy and love. Slowly come back into yourself. Observe how you feel in your body, quality of your breath, space in your heart. Observe what happens when you fill yourself with Maitri and offer Maitri. When you offer, also learn to receive. You offer to each other and we receive from each other. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So you all know what's your homework for this week is to simply do this practice. When you do your asana and your pranayama, fill yourself with the bhavana of Maitri towards your body. Fill your prana with it. Let your prana be cleansed of all the impurities. And then just do a very short 5-minute practice of taking Maitri to the people around us, the people we love, the neutral people, people we may not love so much, but it's an opportunity to cleanse ourselves of the hurt and pain and anger, right? And then to the whole world, to all living beings. And also remember, we're all there together in this journey, so we can offer it to each other. Okay? Just 5 minutes to do this practice every day, anytime. And don't do it with any expectation. Simply know that by doing it, you're cleansing yourself. And that is our dharma. It's a responsibility that we hold towards ourselves and towards the world. Time for questions and reflections. Hi.
Can I ask? Okay. Hi.
Hi.
This meditation